Well, good evening, Salem family. You know what time it is. It is 6 o'clock on a Sunday night, which means that it is time for the Salem Family Hour. We're excited to be back in your homes, bringing hope to you in the midst of this pandemic. You know, I've said it every week that our mission as a church family is to restore hope by connecting people to God and to one another. So we thank God for the vision of our amazing Pastor James T. Meeks, who has given us that charge that throughout this time, the main thing that we are doing is reminding people of the hope that can be found in Jesus Christ. And so we're excited to bring back our faithful families. I feel like every time I get ready to announce our families, I feel like Steve Harvey. Over here, we've got the Coleman family, and we've got the Carnes family. So they have just been doing an amazing job. And then we have two more Salem family who are educators who are going to share with us and help us to get some insight, some understanding, and some encouragement as we prepare to send our kids back to school. So before we go any further, I'm excited to introduce them to some and present them to others. But before we get started, I'm going to ask Tavon Coleman to begin us tonight with a word of prayer. So Tavon, would you lead us?
Can y'all bow your heads and close your eyes? Lord, we come before you today to tell you thank you, and thank you for keeping us and everybody involved. We pray that these words that we speak tonight touches the family or even more. Lord God, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here, Lord God, and we thank you for keeping us, Lord God. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. So we are excited to get into this, and I want to again, as I always do, as I do every single week, I want to ask you to do a couple of things for us as we get started tonight. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to comment and let us know where you're watching from. We love to know that we have family as we have tonight. We got somebody who's going to be on tonight who's a Salem member who's in Houston, Texas. So we know that y'all are watching from everywhere, and it blesses us. It ministers to us when we know where we're reaching you from. So do us a favor. That's the first thing. Comment and let us know where you're connecting with us from tonight. Second thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to hit the share button. Because if our mission as a church is to restore hope by connecting people to God and to one another, you need to know that you can restore hope to somebody simply by sharing what's going to be shared tonight. And you can do that by clicking on that button, starting a watch party, sharing it to any other groups you belong to, tagging teachers, parents, educators, administrators, so that they can get the hope that they need to get from our seasoned professionals and Salem family who are going to be on tonight. The third thing I'm going to ask you to do is, as you hear this content going forward, we want to ask you to ask questions. We want to ask you to post anything that you want to know more about. If we don't get to it in this broadcast, we will comment right there in the comment section and make sure that we address every single question that comes up in that feed, because we want you to walk away from this edified, strengthened, and encouraged as we move forward with the hope that only can be found in Jesus Christ. So now I'm excited to share with you they're not guests, they're Salem family, but they're going to be sharing with us tonight. So firstly, we have Sister Kalisha Woods, who is a educator. She is a leader. She's a Salem family member. She's one of our remote Salem family members. Kalisha, we are so glad to have you on tonight.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. And then we have Miss Joanna Wells, who is on tonight. She's actually a CPS administrator. She's a CPS principal, and we're excited that she's on tonight because she's going to share what's going on and help us to understand what's going on in the Chicago public schools and give some insight and information to us as well. Joanna, thank you for being with us tonight.
It is such a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and I mentioned before, we got the Coleman family. Colemans, y'all are some troopers. We love you all. Good to see you again tonight. And the Carnes family back with us tonight, who's going to help engage in this topic. So I want to jump into it. And what we're talking about is this whole issue of our kids going back to school. We know that COVID-19 continues. And when this whole thing first started back in March, I'll never forget it, what they were telling us was, kids seem to be immune from it. Y'all remember that? They were telling us, well, kids can't really get it. Don't be worried about it. Then they told us nobody needs to wear a mask. Don't be too serious with these masks. And so that was March. Now here it is, August. And now they're saying, well, you know what? We weren't sure then, but now we think kids might be able to get it. But just to be safe, make sure you wear masks because you need those. And so in the midst of all of this confusion, as we're all really just trying to understand how this virus works a little bit more, none of us have experienced anything like this in our lifetime. As we're trying to figure this out, we're also trying to figure out, how do our kids continue to grow educationally? How do they continue to grow academically? And so we've been talking. Last week, we were joined by Dr. Blondine Davis, who's a longtime member of Salem and also superintendent in the Madison School District and CEO of Southland College Prep. This week, Joanna and Kalisha are on because we want to get some more insight, and we want them to help us to understand what it is that we need to be doing so that we can prepare our kids no matter what the situation may be. I said it last week, that every context is different. So in the Madison School District, they are utilizing a hybrid model. And so they have a certain percentage of kids who are going to be back in the classroom, certain percentage of kids who are learning remotely. We know that those of you who are CPS parents, you know that the situation will be a little bit different. Tonight, we get to hear from Kalisha about what's going on in Houston and help us to understand what may be happening in a different context. And all of this, our hope tonight, is that this would help us to discern and figure out what it is that we need to do to make sure that our kids have everything that they need to grow even in the midst of this. So again, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for engaging tonight. I want to ask this question. First of all, I want to ask this to Joanna. Joanna, you are a CPS administrator.
Yeah.
And you can, if you would, please just tell us a little bit more about your school and how you're serving there. But do me a favor, and just for those who may be watching from other places or for those who don't know what's going on here in Chicago, can you share with us a little bit more about what is the learning plan for CPS students going back this fall?
Yeah. My name is Joanna Foster Wells, and I am the assistant principal of Carroll Rosenwald Elementary School on the southwest side. I've been a member of CPS organization for 24 years or so. This year, at first we were going to do the hybrid model. CPS has some great people on their team to help them decide what's best. So we have some doctors on the team, and we were going the hybrid model at first, but right now it's not safe. And so we are going fully remote right now. So fully remote means that the kids will be online as they were in March. However, it will be a little different, more programs, more opportunities for kids to engage. When we left in March, it was all of a sudden. And so we had to get ready, but we had an opportunity at CPS to get ready, get some new things under our belt, some new strategies, some new tools, and most of all, some professional development for teachers, so our teachers can be ready for our students. Teachers were not used to teaching remotely, and so we have adopted a few programs to allow teachers to learn how to do certain things remotely that they did not know how to do and really engage the students. And so right now in August, our teachers are doing a slew of professional developments to get them prepared for the students September 8th, 2020.
Thank you for that, Joanna. Kalisha, now you are a curriculum coach and you are an instructional coach in Houston. Can you help us understand, because we appreciate being able to hear a little bit more about what's happening outside of Illinois. You know, I said it before, every context is different. And Illinois' plan is also shaped by just the fact that the virus had a different progression here than it had in other parts of the country. So can you just maybe share with us a little bit more about what it's been like dealing with the virus, responding to the virus in Texas, in Houston, and then bring us to what that's going to mean for the fall learning plan for students where you are?
Sure. So Texas is a little bit different. I don't know why, we just like to be different. And so we get sort of, to be honest with you, some conflicting messages. We have our Texas Education Agency who tells the teachers, the superintendents, all of our school districts what curriculum to teach. They are the ones who kind of tell us the rules for what we're supposed to do when it comes to education in the state. And the person in charge, our commissioner of the Texas Education Agency, is appointed by the governor. And so depending on politics, they may agree on things. And so right now in Texas, they're saying that they're not going to leave it up to, you know, the health professionals to decide how and when to open schools or how and when to start the fall. Instead, they're leaving it up to the school districts to decide. But then here's where the conflict comes. Sometimes we get information and recommendations from our county officials. So in the Houston area, we have a county judge who can't make it a set policy, but she can make recommendations for when schools should open and how they should open, if it should be face-to-face, or in Texas, what we call virtual learning, which is learning from home. And so in my school district, it's a city outside of Houston called Pasadena. What we are doing is our students are going to be doing 100% virtual learning from the 18th until September 8th. We're going to allow parents the opportunity to decide, do they want their students to return to the classroom, or do they want their students to continue doing virtual learning? But that's our district. Now, the district next to us, the largest school district in Texas, is obviously Houston ISD. And so they are postponing their start to the school year until September 8th. And so what they're doing is going to be different from a neighboring school district. We have school districts that are doing hybrid models. We have school districts that are starting fully face-to-face. We have some that are delaying the start. So we don't have guidance that covers the entire state. It's mostly school districts, what do you want to do? And that's what we do. And of course, our teachers are being asked to return to the school, to the campuses, regardless of the type of teaching.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I mean, because honestly, one of the things that we're understanding is how very quickly politicized the whole situation has become. And that means different things in different places. And, you know, we can't get into that because that's a whole nother family hour episode, right? But what we do appreciate is the fact that, you know, there are some people who are representing various different kinds of situations, because even those who are listening are in those situations. And we just appreciate the fact that you are leading in those situations. You can give us some hope, some wisdom to help us know how to respond. I want to bring, first of all, to Joanna and then to Kalisha, this question. And this kind of piggybacks off of a question that Tavon asked last week. The question is, how do we encourage children who feel like they're missing out on their way of learning? You know, Tavon mentioned, you know, he knows that the system that he's going to be in is going to be remote, but, you know, he realizes he learns best, you know, when he's physically present. And, you know, again, some of that is outside of all of our control, right? It's out of our control as parents, teachers, administrators even. But what would be some things that we would say to young people who are trying to figure out how do they navigate this terrain where, I got to learn in a different way I'm not used to, I can't be, it's like me, only way I made it through college was because I could be in school talking to other people who actually read the book, you know, and they would then tell me, shut up and read the book, right? And so this is a different situation, one that we're not used to. How do we encourage those kids who are trying to figure out, how do I learn? How do I make this adjustment? Joanna, can you respond to that first, and then Khalees?
So it was very hard for students to make that adjustment in the fall because they were missing their friends. They were missing the hands-on learning with the teacher. This time we have, like I said before, engaged in some programs that will allow students to be more engaged, ask questions. They can make videos. They can talk to the teacher. They can talk to their peers. We are with the Google Meets, it was just one room, but now we're going to have breakout sessions so kids can work in small groups and the teachers can work with small groups and kids can do some extra things. And so we are getting new platforms for the students. It's the same platform, Google Meets, but they have added some additional things. Before, the kids had to write certain things on a chat if they want to ask a question. Now we're going to embed in our Google Suite. They can raise their hand. They can talk to a peer. So it's going to be some different things and different programs that they can engage. Also, we have some SEL, social and emotional learning situations for kids who feel like they need to talk. So we're going to have some different programs where kids can talk to each other, talk to a counselor, talk to their favorite teacher, to just start talking things out instead of just being on this one Google Meets where you may not want to share everything with everybody. So having some breakout sessions, having different people in place to speak to the children about anxiety, about how do you do this? The teachers are going to have office hours. And so when you're talking about grading, having teachers have that one-on-one with students and families to get the necessary tools that the kids need to promote a different grading system this time. And so we got some new programs. Be on the lookout, parents, for the new programs. Be on the lookout for the surveys. Parents, fill out the surveys. That is one reason why we went remote instead of hybrid, because they listen to the parents. The parents said, hey, we don't want our kids to come back. So that's why we are doing remote. So when you get the surveys, don't ignore them. When you get them in the mail, fill them out, because most of the decisions that are made, we are listening to the parents. The schools are listening to the parents. The district are listening to the parents. And so please fill out the survey so your voice can be heard. And also connect with your school, connect with your school counselor, connect with your teacher, connect. You have the power to connect. Ask the questions. Call the teacher, email the teacher. This is what they get paid to do, to answer questions about tools. And so do not feel that you are bugging a teacher. Ask the questions. Ask the teacher. You can also say, I want to Google Meet with you. You can ask for or request a meeting with you and your child and your family to talk about what is happening on the remote learning, what you don't understand, what you do understand. How can I bring my child grade up? Also connect with your principal and assistant principal. Also connect with other families who may know something on the technology side that you don't know, and their kids are tech savvy with it. Their friends, these kids are tech savvy, and so just a matter of partnering up with a certain family to get the things that you all don't have and you all can share. Sharing and it's powerful when it comes to these technology events. Okay.
That's great. Thank you. Kalisha, same question.
Okay, first of all the snaps, because yes, everything she said, yes, yes, all the yeses. You cannot over communicate with the school and with your teachers. There is no such thing, because the heart of a teacher is in ensuring and making sure that the kids are learning and understanding and getting the help that they need. So I cannot reiterate enough the importance of communicating with your teacher and with the school. The other thing I want to reiterate all of the training the teachers are doing all across the country, because the spring was a quick fix band-aid to something that we didn't expect, and so there wasn't the time for the training. Everybody was just kind of doing things as we could and fixing it along the way. But we had all summer to get it together, and we've been doing trainings. I'm sure that Texas and Chicago are not alone in that. Um, the other big thing is, because of all of the training and the amount of communication that the school is going to be providing, more than anything, schools do not want parents to feel like they are homeschooling their kids. We're not asking parents to homeschool. We are asking parents to support their students who are learning from home. Those are very different things, because the teachers want to teach. They don't want the parents to put that responsibility on the parents. Teachers want to teach. And so they're getting that training and better understanding of the technology of different programs that can make it more engaging for students who are missing that connection with their peers. They're, like in my district, we embed things, we call them brain breaks, so that it's just, here's a website. All I want you to do is move your mouse around and draw something cool. Just like take that break, because being online for a long time, I mean, y'all have been on Zoom meetings, I'm sure. That Zoom meeting for hours on end can really drain you. And so we're thinking about that as a school. We are not asking students to sit in front of their computer for 8 hours straight and, run to the bathroom, run get something to eat. Like, we're thinking about all of those things and embedding that into our schedules, into our training, into our planning, because we recognize it's going to be a challenge, but the schools, the teachers, the administrators, the school districts are working to lessen that stress, lessen the amount that the parents feel like they have to take on for themselves. And so that's really what I wanted to reiterate, is that training that teachers have gotten. Like, we got y'all. We're here for y'all to make sure that you don't have to stress out the way that you may have in the spring. And just, yes, please stay in contact with your teachers. You are not bugging them. And even if you think you are bugging them, bug them anyway, because it's your kids. You're trying to make sure that they're getting what they need, and bug them. Bug them if that's what it takes for you to be able to ensure your kids are learning.
Alicia, thank you so much for that. You made an important distinction, and I don't know if everybody heard it. You said you're not asking the parents to be homeschoolers. You're asking them to support remote learning. And that is a really important distinction. I feel like, and I said this last week, when my daughter's daycare closed, I felt like a substitute teacher. And I felt like all of that weight was on me. I really looked at it like I was homeschooling. And then my wife came home, so now the principal is here and she's going to check, to see if I was educating right, but what you're saying is, one of the things that's happened over the space of time is that you've been able to really think about, what does remote learning look like, and offer that to parents in such a way that what you're inviting parents to actually do is simply to support that process, and not to vacate the role that we always have as parents, which is to make sure that our kids are growing holistically, right? But that we're not, we don't have to figure out with curriculum and all that kind of stuff, like I was stressing out about. I want to ask both of you this question. Kalisha, I'll start with you and then we'll jump back to you, Joanna, on this one. How are you and your systems addressing some of the barriers that may come up with remote learning, like access to technology and, assuming that everybody has Wi-Fi that's good enough to be able to engage with that, assuming that everybody has the same tools. We know that there are disparities, right? So how are your school systems addressing some of those barriers in order to make sure that remote learning is accessible for everyone?
To speak for my school district, I'm very grateful for the school district that I work in, because we are able to provide a device, whether it's a tablet like an iPad, or a tablet like a laptop to all of our students K through 12 so that we can provide virtual learning. Um, Unfortunately, again, this is one of those things where it just depends on where you live. If you're going to get a device, even for the younger kids, or if it's going to be, they're going to have to pick up a paper packet in order to do their learning and from home. One of the things our district is providing to students who are having difficulties with Wi-Fi, we purchase these little hotspots so parents can ask, they can submit a request for the hotspot, and we're able to deliver those to our students who are struggling to have Wi-Fi for various reasons. We actually, and sadly, we still have students who never really recovered from Hurricane Harvey. Their families are still um, recovering from that, and so we're looking out for those families to make sure that they have what they need. And that's the other reason why communication is so important with their school. We don't want anyone to feel ashamed about their situation. We want to be able to help out as best we can. The other really great thing, despite the fact that schools are doing things differently, is that across our state, our superintendents talk to one another. They talk to find out, well, what are y'all doing? What's your plan? Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. We're going to try that over here. And so when they find out about things like where we are, Verizon is offering discounted internet service so that students and families will have access. And so they share that information across the state and with surrounding school districts so that more students are able to have that service. And so anytime somebody finds out something that's going to be of benefit to students and to their families, we share it. It's not something like we don't want to tell the neighboring district because then our students won't get it. We really do look out for one another in our surrounding areas. Our superintendents, they speak a lot. They also stay in close contact with our health officials, our county officials, so that they can make sure that whatever the plan is, it's with thought. They are considering obstacles and limitations and finding ways to work together to work through that.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really, really great. And so with Chicago Public Schools, I don't know if you all received the communication just last week. We sent out letters to the parents via email talking about how you can get information as far as the CPS hotline. The CPS hotline is a hotline that talks about the food that we give the parents every day, and also how to get a device. And so the first thing you do to get a device is reach out to your school. Reach out to your school. I am an assistant principal, and already the parents have received the letter. You may not have received it yet. It's via email, and it's probably going to come to your home, but I have already received calls to say, my child needs a computer. My child had a computer. You gave us one in the fall, but right now it's not working. And so now, once we get all of the lists together of the parents, we are going to give out devices. CPS also has partnered up for hotspots and internet. And so the first thing you need to do to get a device is to reach out to your school. Reach out to the principal or the assistant principal to let them know that you need a device, and then look at that letter and look at the hotline number as far as getting the hotspot or the free internet for your families. Reach out to your school. We have the devices, and so reach out to your school to get them. And once CPS, if the school doesn't have them, then the principal and AP reaches out to someone else to make sure that you get a device. And so that's the first thing that you need to do.
Thank you for that. That's so helpful. And I want to thank you all again who are watching us, maybe those of you who are just jumping in. This is Salem Family Hour, and we are talking to some educators, our very own Salem family members who are helping us to understand what's going on as our kids are going back to school, how we can prepare, things we need to know. Grateful for them and grateful for you even asking your questions. We see your questions and we are responding to them in the comments section. Thank you so much. If we don't pull your question out, we'll make sure that we respond right there in the flow of your comments. I'm going to ask Kalisha to respond to this question, and then Joanna to respond to this question from the Carnes family. Carnes family, you have a question. Actually, you know what? No, I think this question is specific to CPS, right? So Joanna, this question then is for you. So go ahead.
Hello, Carnes family.
Hi, Ms. Wells. Thank you for being here, giving us the information. First, like Mr. Marshall, I did feel like I was a substitute teacher last year with a sixth grader and a junior in high school, so I was overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much with elementary, with my daughter that was in sixth grade, it was a host of passwords and technology thing that I need to understand to even support her during the remote learning from March. Is there going to be like a parent development remote class that could teach us what online resources that they're going to be using, or what systems they're going to be using, how to manage passwords for these different systems, Google Meet classrooms? You know, is there going to be some type of resources to help us with the technology portion of it? And then one other question is, the grading system will be different for remote learning.
Yes. So your first question around hosting parent development. And so be on the lookout. Your school should have a PAC, advisory council. That's a parent advisory council, and they host a lot of parent universities. So look out for that, or ask the school, do you have a PAC? Can you send me the information to when the PAC meets? And the PAC meetings, that it's about parent involvement, but it's also to help parent navigate the systems of remote learning. And so I know at my school, we had PAC meetings, and we gave parents a lot of information around the different tools, the different passwords, and how to navigate them. Also, once you meet your child's teacher this year, you can ask for Google Meets with your teacher to help you navigate that system. It's called Google Classroom. They're probably going to be using Google Classroom. I don't know if your students, you are familiar with that. And so everything is in Google Classroom. And usually the Google Classroom is one link that allow you to get in the classroom. But the passwords come from the different programs. So I don't know if they use Study Island or Khan. And so my son is also a CPS student. He was in 7th grade. And so what we did, my husband and I, is we had a notebook. And so for every platform you were using, if it was Study Island, if it was Khan Academy, write down your password. Also, most of these components have a parent side to it. And so get a link to that parent side so you can see what's going on. A lot of times it's a miscommunication between the teacher and the parent, or the parent said, well, I don't have the link, but the teacher can also give you the link so the parent, you can see everything that's going on. It won't be a surprise. When the grades come out, it won't be a surprise, because you will be able to see. My student had 5 assignments, and it's due on Friday. Today is Wednesday. You could talk to your students. Well, you only did 2, and today is Wednesday, and it's due on Friday. So you can keep up and navigate with your students. But having some type of a binder or a notebook where you keep these passwords in place once the teachers give them to you. The teachers will give the students the password when they get linked to the program. And so maybe the first or second week of school, the teachers will give the students the password, and you all get a binder together, a notebook together. These are the passwords that we'll be using. And so that's the first thing, just getting an organization platform as a family, because it's going to be a lot of passwords. It's going to be, we got some different great programs. The students are going to be having multiple passwords. And so for the passwords, just get organized so you can write those passwords down, but also get linked up to your parent university. Ask your school, do you have a PAC meeting? If not, your network knows about, because it's a person in the network who usually does the parent universities, and so you can get that. But you all should be have a PAC. You all should have a PAC. The school should have a PAC to give you that information. Okay.
Chanel, appreciate that question, because there's a lot of parents out there that won't want to admit it, and a lot of folks out there don't want to admit it, period. But they had no idea what Zoom was until March 15th. They had no idea what Google Hangouts were, all this kind of stuff that's just popping up And now you're like, Lord have mercy. Now I gotta help my baby do her math and get on Zoom to do her math. So that's really helpful information, Joanna. Kalisha, I want to ask you a similar question, and then Joanna, it can bounce back to you if you want. So this doesn't have to be specific to your schools or specific to your school systems, just from what you know as an educator, as somebody who's worked with parents. What other resources are you seeing out there that can help parents to facilitate and to support that remote learning environment? What are some other things that parents might want to look into to help them get ready to facilitate that?
I would say I liked how Joanna was saying that you need to talk with your kids and get those passwords. So when we were talking about communication, communicate together as a family to make sure everybody's clear about the expectations from the teachers, from the schools, so that there are no misunderstandings about when assignments are due, where to turn things in. One of the things I'm telling y'all, everything is on YouTube. You can't find something, you want to know how you want to review real quick so you can look good in front of your kids, teaching them how to do something. Look it up on YouTube and surprise them. Be like, yeah, I remember quadratic formulas. Let's do this. So it's on YouTube. Really good sources for finding videos about how to do something. If it's about Google Classroom, go to Google's website. They have tons of videos to help train kids, parents, families about how to use their different services. If you want to know more about Zoom, go to Zoom's website. Zoom has tons of videos to help you with getting started and navigating and understanding how to use their services. So if the teacher doesn't know, if you're not able to get an answer to your question, it's always good to just go directly to that tool's website to look for their help videos, because I looked those up myself when I was trying to figure out Zoom breakout rooms and nobody can answer my question. And lo and behold, Zoom has a video about breakout rooms. So I would say go to the source of that particular digital tool or online application to be able to see what they've already provided so that you can get a jump on how to use it.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to what I stated earlier. If it relates to your school, your child, your child's teacher, just like they are on a Google Meets, again, I'm going to say request a Google Meets with the teacher, and the teacher can share her screen and walk you through it. You can get hands-on training with the teacher. They will have office hours. They had office hours this past spring, but they will have office hours. Office hours with remote, it means that you are available to parents, and it's and you're planning. And so when they have something that you don't understand or your child doesn't understand, you can email that teacher and you can say, can you please walk me through step by step what my child is expected to do? How does it look and sound for my child? How does this look? How does this work? And we have an opportunity to share our screen. And so your child can be on a device and you can be watching the teacher as he or she shares their screen on exactly what to do. That is what we are here for. That's the reason we're here. That's the reason we get paid to do this great job, is to walk parents. We want you all to be successful in this remote learning. We want our students to be successful. And so our teachers are going to be ready with the new professional developments. They are ready. They are excited because they're learning some new things. We want our kids to be excited to come back to school. But also we know our parents will not be excited if they are anxious about. Do not be anxious. Do not be anxious about this work. We are here to help you. We are here to serve you. I always say teaching is a service. It's a service, and you all, you are consumers. And so at that being said, call that teacher. I do agree with going on YouTube and going to the source, but that first source, because they know exactly what they want the child to do. And so ask them to walk you through the process.
That's awesome. Thank you both. Here's a question on this topic of helping parents to think about supporting the learning, the remote learning for their students. Talk to us a little bit about, and Principal Wells, you can answer this question first, and then we'll jump to Coach Woods. Talk to us about learning environments and diverse learners. So we're talking about students who may have learning disabilities or who are differently abled or who have other challenges, right? Maybe they have an IEP and, individualized education plan, right?
Yeah.
And so that supports them because they, will need different kinds of supports in order to be able to engage.
Yeah.
Can you speak to us a little bit about how your school systems are supporting students who, face that reality, and just some counsel that you may give to parents about how they can be partners with you in supporting them as well?
Yeah. The first thing is to ensure that you know the counselor, the diverse learning team, whether it's the speech pathologist, the social worker, you be engaged with that team and go over the IEP. The teachers, the counselors, they are already going over reading IEPs and looking at what is needed. That is why the Google Suites addition to breakout rooms are going to be so great this year, because the SECAs, which are the paraprofessionals who help out the teachers with diverse learners, they will be able to take their students in a small group and give them exactly what they need. They will not be in a whole group setting where they can't concentrate with 25 kids on the line. And so that is going to be the great addition to the Google Suites, these breakout rooms, so our diverse learners can get what they need. They can meet in private with the social worker. They can meet in private with the speech pathologist. They can meet in private with the people on their team who they need to meet with to get their services. Also, we look at the IEPs. We know how long they're supposed to be on, how many breaks they're supposed to be on. So they will have all of those accommodations and modifications for those students.
Coach Woods, can you address the same point?
I agree with everything that Juwani was saying, that the technology that we're going to be using it seems like it's going to be scary and work against students who may have an IEP or 504 paperwork or something like that. But it's also designed to be able to, like she said, break them apart in the same way that we would face to face, be able to take them out of the whole group classroom environment so that they could just have a quick chat with them, like, I noticed you're not working on things, you're not being active in the class participation and with the activity. Just like on Zoom, you can send a private chat message. So it's the same as having private conversations face to face. So the technology is there to help with that. I would say for parents, making sure to stay in touch with the special, like in Texas, we have caseload specialists who work with our students who have IEPs, and keeping in touch with them to make sure that they're following it. The specialists, they meet with the teachers to make sure, like, listen, I know we're not face to face, but this is the law. You need to make sure you're following this. As parents, know that behind the scenes, the school is going to make sure that the needs of every student, no matter where they are, will be met, because nobody wants to see the students in their school falling behind or getting left behind and ignored. So we'll be following and tracking and making adjustments as necessary. If we find that something's not working, we'll think of something else. We'll work together. We'll communicate to figure out what's going to work better for that child.
And even with the regular ed students, we encourage our families to look at the approach that they are in school. And what I mean by that is, have your kids have a routine. Your kids do not get up at 11 o'clock during the school day. Get your kids up at their regular time. Get your kids dressed. Get your kids on the screen so they can see. A lot of times the kids have their screen off. Well, you can't connect with anybody because your screen off, their screen is off. So who you connecting with? You need to see the faces. Get your kids up. Have that routine. If your routine is getting up, eating breakfast, whatever the routine is, get them up. This year at CPS, we are in school. Whether we are remote or hybrid, we are in school. So we are expecting our kids to be online, to be on time, to be dressed, not with pajamas. You are getting dressed for school. You are washing your face. You are getting ready for school as if you were walking or getting on a bus, traveling to your school. And so that's important when kids get up and have their routine. They feel like they're in school. They do better versus I'm gonna get up at 12 and I'm gonna be in my pajamas and I'm not gonna comb my hair. You do not feel like a winner. You do not feel like you belong to a group of people who are learning. And so parents, I advise all the parents to start now. Get off those video games. It's time for school. Get up, do your routine, eat your breakfast. Also, like I said, I'm not only talking from administrator, I'm talking from a parent. We had a schedule. This is the time you do this. This is the time you do this. This is time for break. This is the time for chores, just as it was when you was in regular school. And believe me, when your kids have a routine, they will do better. The parents will do better because we have a schedule already. I know in March and April, it was kind of like we were all in a situation, but right now we know the pandemic is here. We know we cannot do anything about that. We cannot control that. But one thing that we can control is how our kids learn, how we set apart from everybody else, how we hold our kids and ourselves accountable for their routine, for making them get up. And so, yes, the teachers, we're ready. We're getting ready. We're doing the professional developments. We are going to be at our best game this year. We got caught off guard, and I think we still did a good job, but we're moving from a good to great now in CPS. And so since we're going to be great, we need our kids to be great parents. We need you to get them up. No excuses. I got up at 10. You don't get up at 10 going to school any other day. Get our kids up. We're ready to teach, and they can't fall behind if they're there every day getting the lessons, and you are reaching out to the teachers. So I did want to comment on how we can support the schools. Get them up. Get them with their notebook. Have their paper and pencil. They need a notebook. You got to take notes. How you going to know what's due if you don't write it down? So get your book bag. If you got to go to the living room with your book bag. Get out the bed on the computer. Go to a desk. Go to a table. Go somewhere where you feel like you're in school. We're not in the bed. How you in school in the bed? So parents, let's work together. CPS is going to be ready. The teacher's going to be ready. I'm an administrator. I am ready, and I am going to be online. I popped in and out of classrooms every day in the spring, and I saw some of my kids in the bed on the pillow with the TV on. You're not in school, and so I'm going to hold my parents accountable as I want my parents of Chicago Public Schools to hold me accountable.
You better preach on here, principal.
Y'all heard that educational word right there. Yes, everything she just said, yes, because this COVID is not going to last forever. Eventually, we are going to be back in a physical room, and if you are still waking up at 11 o'clock, you are late to school, and you are late to the learning. You're missing out on all that good learning that happened from 7:30 to 11. So yes.
Listen, y'all just took every parent on this family out of the church. Y'all should have seen. Look, Chanel was just sitting there like she was waving her hand at the preacher. She's like, I told you. Because, we stress out about these things that we're not, as parents, we're not teachers, but we can bring structure. We can bring encouragement, right? And the biggest shift that has happened is that this thing has tried to throw off our normal. And so if we can get our hands around trying to create a new normal, and like you said, saying, no, we need to get ready to engage the school day. We need to have a defined workspace. We need to have So what's going to be lunchtime? You know, what's going to be, you know, for my daughter, I had to try my hardest to figure out nap time, you know, just to say, okay, here's your nap time. You know, I know you just got off this Zoom, but you're not finna get off this, you know, this Zoom. And my daughter's 3. You're not finna get off this Zoom and go play Peppa Pig. You know, it's nap time. Because when you go back to school, it's going to be nap time. And so that was so good. Go ahead.
And CPS is working around, because we know it's very difficult for parents to figure out, like, when it's break time, when it's lunchtime. And so right now, the schools are setting the schedule, and we are trying to, and it's going to be set up like schools. So they will have their, you know, a set lunchtime. So you will know what time lunchtime is. You know, you will actually know. So we're working hard to build schedules around so it can feel like normal school, even though we know it's remotely. We're trying to make it as normal as we can as far as building a schedule.
That's really great. Thank you. I know that just as a parent as well, I know that's going to be of a huge help. We have a question from the Coleman family. Coleman family, are you ready for your question?
So my question is, I know, Ms. Wells, you are elementary assistant principal, but I wanted to know, as far as like the kids that are graduating, like we have a senior, and so what he's really worried about is, you know, the senior stuff that goes on at the school. You know, they got senior ditch day, they got intramurals, they got pep rallies, they got everything to engage them as seniors. So by them being remote, and like for the 8th graders, their graduation, our son, he graduated 8th grade, and they gave a graduation online, a virtual graduation, but you know, they only put their picture up there. They put everybody's picture on there. So, you know, it wasn't like them walking and they didn't have their cap and gown. And so, like, for the seniors, for everyone that's graduating, are you guys doing something to accommodate it so it feels like they're actually being a senior this year? You know, they're actually doing, you know, I don't know, you know, they're getting the senior out of being a senior.
Yeah, my son goes to a high school. Even though he's in 7th grade, he's in a selective enrollment school, and the high schools were different from the elementary schools. And what I mean by that, they did more things to make the seniors feel a part of their 2020 graduation. And so they did have pep rallies. They did pep rallies online. They visited the homes. They did a lot of different things. And so, like I said, last year we were caught off guard, and none of us, I'm going to be honest, didn't know how it was going to look. And as the numbers go up and down, we're hoping that, I'm praying that 2021, after the fall, we will be able to move into the hybrid model where we can have more people in a room at a time, so the kids actually can have a graduation. And so the high schools are working on it. We were very creative last year with 2020, and we didn't know how it was going to work out. So the high schools were very creative by doing videos online, live videos, going to the homes, doing pep rallies, having dances online where they was dancing at home and just putting videos together. So they did a lot of different things because they have more arts and musics and different things and bands that they can get involved in high school. So they did a really good job at high school, and we were caught off guard. So imagine this year that we know what we're doing. We know how we can work things. We are familiar with different protocols, different platforms. And so I think this year will be more engaging for the graduates of this year, because we have a handle on different things.
Thank you for that. That is so very helpful. We are coming close to our time, and we want to honor everybody's time. We want to honor your time because we are so grateful that you've been on. We're grateful for your engagement. We're grateful for the questions that you have sent to us. We are grateful for these educational leaders who have given up this hour to us. and they have given us hope and inspiration, encouragement, and strategies, things that we can actually do starting tomorrow to make sure that we're supporting our kids well. I want to ask Principal Wells, Ms. Joanna, first of all, if you have any final words of encouragement, any final comments that you want to offer to our families watching as we head into this fall school season.
Yes, I just want our families of Chicago Public Schools to keep the hope. Work with us, be a partner with us. We are gearing up for the best remote learning of the century. We are excited about it. We have been trained about it. And I just really want the parents to work with us. Send your kids to the living room, send them to the dining room. Do not let them miss school. Do not think just because it's online, we are not teaching and learning. We are. Do not let them fall behind because it's on a remote. We are still teaching. We are still promoting excellence. We are still getting kids ready for college and careers. We still have our counselor. Kids are still going to college. We have done some great things even through the COVID 2020. We have kids going to college. We have done some great things. So do not think that we are not ready. We are ready for your students. We are ready for your children. And so send them, get them ready, start now, winding down on your summer activities and get them in the mode of teaching, get them in the mode of learning, get them in the mode of connecting with their peers. And so that's it. I really want to see everyone do a great job. And I know we will. I know we're going to kill it this year. CPS parents and CPS teachers, CPS paraprofessionals. We are ready and we're going to kill it. And we're just waiting on your child on September 8th, 2020.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Kalisha, Coach Woods, do you have any closing comments, words of encouragement, words of inspiration you want to share with our families and our audience tonight? I think we may have lost Kalisha. I think we may have, I think she has dropped off. But we're so grateful. We're so thankful for you. May have some technical difficulties on your end, but we are still grateful for you. Grateful for the contributions that you made. Thank you for the sacrifice of time. Kalisha Woods, curriculum and instructional coach in Houston. Thank you so much for being on with us tonight. Principal Wells, Joanna Foster Wells, thank you so much. Great members of the greatest church in the world who are also helping our students to thrive and survive this fall. We're so grateful for you. And we're grateful again for our families who joined us with some great questions and engagement. Thank you, Coleman family. Thank you, Carnes family. We so celebrate you for all of your engagement tonight. Next week, we're going to be right back on, and we're going to continue this conversation about remote learning. And we're really going to hear about how we need to be paying attention to our kids' mental health and their physical health during this pandemic. We want to make sure that we're not ignoring the science. We want to hear from some professionals who can give us some wisdom and some insight and some encouragement on how we can steward our kids' health as they go back physically, emotionally, and socially. So you don't want to miss that. We'll be back same time, 6 o'clock Sunday evening, right here, Facebook Live. Thank you all so much for engaging with us. Let me pray. Father, thank you for another night where we've had the opportunity to be blessed to hear from these leaders, where we've been blessed to receive of the wisdom that you've given them to share with us. God, thank you for Principal Wells. Thank you for Coach Woods. Thank you for their leadership Thank you for their giftedness. God, we ask that you would bless them, that you would strengthen them, that you would encourage them as they continue to lead and serve our young people this fall. May your protection continue to abound for them. May they be encouraged, and may they know that you are using them in this strange moment we find ourselves in to continue to give hope to people who need it. Thank you for the Carnes family and for the Coleman family. God, thank you for our pastor who continues to lead us and give us vision for how we can reach people with the hope that's found in the gospel. And thank you for the Salem Baptist Church of Chicago. We pray that every parent and every student would be encouraged tonight, and that something was said that would help them to know how to continue to move forward, have peace, and prosper in a pandemic. Thank you for the Family Hour and for our team who does such a marvelous job bringing this together for us every week. God, meet us back here next week, and may your presence be felt even as people continue to watch and share what was shared tonight. We love you and we praise you, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Well, it's time. We love you. We thank you. Glad you were able to be on with us. God bless you. Tell a friend, tell another family member, tell educators, teachers, parents. We'll be right back here continuing this conversation next week. God bless you.
God bless you.